Hi everybody and welcome back to Time to Go. Bob here, and today we are coming at you from my kayak. It is little Eddie's first trip in the boat. Doing okay, things are a little bit tippy here, but today we're going to be taking a look at the Pulsar World Time super cool watch, and thought I'd bring it out, get it out in the wild and give it a little test run. After some footage of our kayaking trip, we'll take this back inside, we'll take a closer look at the Pulsar. Okay, so we've made it back to the house in one piece without tipping the kayak. Had a couple of close calls with Eddie, but he eventually settled in pretty good for his first time out. So, guys, when I first came across this watch, I immediately thought, hey, a nice alternative to the G-Shock Square. And it is if you're looking for something with a bit of a different look, and to me a really cool look. Now, nothing touches the toughness of G-Shock as far as digital watches go, but this watch has a couple of nice surprises that give the G-Shock a run for its money. So let's start off here with some of the numbers on the watch. So the case here comes in at a case width of 43.5 millimeters. We have a lug to lug of 45 millimeters. We have a lug opening of 20 millimeters, and we have a case thickness of about 11 millimeters. Now, just for comparison's sake, I have my 5610 here. If we have them side by side, they are almost identical in case size. They have the same width, very similar lug to lug, depending on where you take the measurement on the G-Shock. The G-Shock here, if we hold them sideways, is a little bit thicker than the Pulsar, but the Pulsar has one thing going for it that the G-Shock doesn't. And if you look at the side here, it is the drilled lugs. Now, unlike the G-Shock where you need an adapter for different straps, on the Pulsar, it's your typical spring bars for easy strap changes. The Pulsar has a 100-meter water resistant, houses a Japanese quartz movement. Pulsar, by the way, is owned by Seiko, so I'd assume it's a Seiko movement. The case is stainless steel with a black ion finish. There's also a steel version without the black finish that's really cool too. Now, I'm not sure the weight of the watch. It's not heavy, but it's a fair amount heavier than my 5610. We have a screwed case back here with a lightly etched wave logo. On the front of the watch is Hardlex crystal. Now, as far as some of the functions of the watch go, the middle button here changes the functions from our home screen, which has our date and time information. If we press it, there is a stopwatch. We have memory recall for pulling up saved lap times. We have a countdown timer. There's an alarm, the world time function, and finally back to the home screen. Now, if you're wondering, I have the backlight set up to turn on every time I press a button. I'm not sure if you can make that out or if my lights here are washing that out, but that can be disabled if you want. Also, if we press the top left button, you can turn the sound either on or off from the home screen. So when I unboxed this watch the other day, I was asked if I felt if this compared in any way to G-Shocks when it comes to the shock resistant capabilities. The answer to that question is going to be a pretty big no for a couple of different reasons. First of all, in the reading materials, the instructions, there's no information on shock resistance, and it's quite the opposite. There's a warning here against shock resistance. Now, I'm not going to read that all to you here right now, but the other thing that most, if not all, G-Shocks have, other than the internal shock-resistant tech, is the case designs where the screen or dial is sunken into the case and is protected by these edges here. On the Pulsar, the first line of defense is the crystal itself, which protrudes actually slightly out of the case. I've given my G-Shocks a few knocks that I'm sure would have done in the crystal on this, or at least given it a nice scuff. Now, that being said, it still feels like a pretty solid watch, so let's take a quick look at it on wrist. Alright, so one other thing to note that we did not talk about yet, and that is the strap. The strap it comes with is a pretty decent quality, probably a slight step up from the G-Shock straps. I just really like the design with that ridge coming down the center here, has a nice feel on wrist. Now, this may not be as tough as a G-Shock, but I've been using it as a gym watch, and also it makes for a fun casual watch with the easy strap changes. I just love the look. It's very user-friendly. It's a perfect watch to give your G-Shock a little vacation every once in a while. One other thing I want to point out too, and this was also brought up in the unboxing video, and that is the negative display. In bright sunlight, it can be a little bit tricky to read. It's not bad, but just something to keep in mind if you're considering picking one up. So that's it, guys. Let's take this back to the lake and wrap up today's video. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed our look at the Pulsar World Time. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.